Hello, friends. We welcome you to the Legal Breeze. Today, we will be having a discussion on the post retirement jobs or employment to the retired Supreme Court judges and its constitutional validity. For that, we need to go into a few provisions of the Constitution carefully. First, most important provision, all of you should look into that, is Article 124, Class 7. A similar wording has been made in the provisions relating to Article 220. Then we have another important provision. It is not relating to the judges, but to the similar constitutional functionaries such as the CAG under Article 148, Class 4. A prohibition has been clearly envisaged barring the CAG once he has become the CAG. After he gets retirement, he or she shall not be entitled. In fact, they are prohibited or barred to get any employment under the central government or state government, for that matter, any authorities or entities located under Article 12 of the Constitution. Then we have such a clear-cut prohibition for the UPSC members, chairman, and to the similar members of the other public service commissions under Article 319. Having said so, now we have to look into the language used in Article 220 and 124, Class 7. The title of Article 220 says about the restriction of the practice of the High Court judges. It uses the term very clearly, only it deals with the restriction of practices of a person who has been held the office of a High Court judge. That too, he should have held the office in a permanent capacity as a permanent judge. This restriction or embargo will not be applicable to the person who has acted as a judge of the High Court in an ad hoc manner or as an additional judge. This restriction is valid or imposed constitutionally by the Constitution of India only to the sitting permanent judges who have retired in the same High Court or succession to the some other High Court. A period limit has also been prescribed by the 15th Amendment for that matter is concerned. Then what about Article 124, Class 7? It doesn't use such terms at all. It doesn't have any such subheading, that is restriction of the practice of the Supreme Court judges. But it simply says no retired judge of the Supreme Court shall plead or act before any authority after his or her retirement. The word plead, certainly, yes, it is relating to the practice. One can infer it. One can easily understand it. But the word act, it's a very wider one. Whether it is including consultancy or including the chairmanship such as various bodies such as the NHRC, and we have some other commissions, even arbitration, whether that can be covered under the term called act. This controversy can be easily explained when there was a dispute between Justice Sri Markandeya Gadju, who was acting in his capacity as a press council chairman, and the Supreme Court. And remember, Markandeya Gadju, after his retirement, has taken the chairmanship of the press council. Now his junior judges are imposing an order against him, asking him to appear in the contempt proceedings. This involves the dignity of the judgmentship, the judge of the Supreme Court, the ex-judge of the Supreme Court. The dignity of it's not only involving his individual dignity, it is involving the dignity of the office of the Supreme Court and the institutional integrity. A senior judge of the Supreme Court, though he is retired, how he is asked to be appearing or appeared before his junior judges, suppose he could have trained them. It is going morally against, though not legally, unless you specifically bar it. This notion of extension of barring the retired people from certain authorities has been specifically invoked even to an authority, statutory authority called TRAI. The TRAI chairman is barred to get any further employment after his retirement. When the statutory authorities are having this sort of conditions, why it cannot be applicable? Why it cannot be made applicable to the Supreme Court judges? Our constitutional framers would have never intended that our Supreme Court judges, after their retirement, will go for, or will longing for, or they will beg for the retirement, post-retirement jobs. They should not be at their mercy of any politicians for their post-retirement jobs or livelihood. For that matter, Constitution has given greater security in the form of pension and other benefits. We have very nice noble gentlemen like Justice Chalameshwar. He has categorically announced that he cannot be sold for any post-retirement job or employment for that matter. He has categorically refused to go for any post-retirement jobs. We have got many judges who have principally made a decision that they will never accept in their lifetime the post-retirement jobs after serving as a judge of the Supreme Court. But today the scenario is not like that. Say there was a discussion whether the persons who have served as a election commissioner, including the chief election commissioner, in the election commission, there shall be a cooling period that they shall not accept any offer from the political party after retiring from the election commission. Though such a proposal has not been notified or has not got the parliamentary approval, but there was a discussion. Say example, however, Mr. T.N. Session happens to be honest, but one point of time he was willing to accept the ticket from the Shiv Sena. So there can be temptation, however you are honest. So this can be curbed. So we need to have a clear-cut law by the Parliament which regulates, because the Supreme Court, the Constitution empowers the Parliament to regulate the terms and services of the conditions of the office of the Supreme Court judges without violating the Constitution. Or you can give a wider interpretation to Article 124 Clause 7. Thereby you can strictly prohibit the Supreme Court judges for accepting the post-retirement jobs. In that matter, various provisions like various acts such as the Human Rights Commission, NHRC Act relating to the Human Rights Act 1993 and some other acts which is giving this, maybe the Lokpal, which is giving the judges of the Supreme Court or High Courts, many other acts have to be declared as unconstitutional, including certain tribunals. Because that lowers the dignity of the senior judges before the junior judges. People may argue institutions are greater than individuals. Certainly, we agree to that extent. But that shall not be at the cost of the very dignity of the senior judges. And not only that, it reflects their institutional, individual integrity, but it also reflects the institutional integrity. We are given extraordinary protection to the ex-presidents, MPs, MLAs. Why it cannot be the same to the Supreme Court judges? Say example, the UPSC chairman is completely barred after serving as a chairman of the UPSC, one of the constitutional functionary. The CAG is also barred. So when it is applicable to the constitutional functionaries such as the CAG and the UPSC chairman, why it cannot be made applicable to the Supreme Court judges? That's a $1 billion question. However, the Supreme Court has found convenience because it suits their interest. But I hope good judges in the future may come up and say that this practice is unconstitutional. We hope the good day will come sooner rather than later. God bless you all. Jai Hind. Thank you for patient listening.